I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 10 to the Sky. Ah, yes, jumping back into another All the Mods 10 to the Sky video, and can you believe it has already almost been 40 episodes of us working through this, and just take a look at the gorgeous base thus far. Man, this thing right here has really taken off. And I mean, we've done everything from building quantum computers, building our self-mystical agriculture, Ars Nouveau. We've gotten into G-Ors and automation and production of all of those products. We've done all of the mechanism stuff all throughout this base. I mean, we're producing antimatter. We've done a little bit of create. We've done industrial foregoing. I mean, what have we not really touched in this pack? I'm pretty sure we now almost have the ability to make the star. Oh yeah, about the star. Okay, now future Chosen here. I'm going after the All the Mods star today. I'm definitely going to make that very, very clear. But have you guys already completed the All the Mods star yourself? I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. All right, let's get back onto this video. See, today we are just missing a few things for said star. So let's just head on upstairs here. And I want to use this space for something very special that we're going to need in order to make the stars. And that is going to be these singularities. While not my favorite thing in the world to make, we do have to make them in order to complete the star, as it is required. And there's significant amount of them. Basically, for each one that you see here, you also have to make another one for the ultimate singularity, because this does also require the same singularities that was in the prior. Now, when it comes to making the singularities, we need a quantum compressor, and then we also need the ultimate catalyst. And there's 19 of these singularities that are going to be required. And then we will have to take some singularities to make the final singularity here, which would technically be the 20th total singularity. But this actually doesn't get made inside of this quantum compressor. So we do need the ultimate catalyst. That does not get consumed upon making a singularity, but we do need to send in items into this. To be able to make it 25,000 of them for every single thing that you see here. So 25,000 coal, 25,000 steel, all of this is going to be required in order to get this. And I'm trying to figure out what is the fastest method of getting these items into the compressor. So far in my testing, pipes with the ultimate pipe upgrade has been one of the fastest methods. I've also tried using a pattern provider and just injecting directly into this with a pattern provider, but there's some limitations to the compressor itself when it's involving AE, it seems. So it seems like the pattern provider can't send as many items per tick than the item pipe, for example. But I wonder if there's other methods. I still haven't tested any of the other piping solutions out there, because with this ultimate pipe upgrade, this is only technically doing 64 items every single tick, which is very fast, mind you. But there are other mods that can send items faster than that. But at the end of the day, there's only one slot, and you only have what you can. I would assume this is as fast as it can go. There's only one slot, and if you're sending every tick, there's only every tick to send an item, unless you can send items in between ticks, which most things don't work that way. So now I'm doing some testing here. I'm playing around with integrated dynamics. I've got my channels set up and my properties where my item transfer rate is 256. Let's just assume that this can send 256 items every tick, which this is essentially doing that. As soon as I put the item interface, this is going to start sending those items. I still, though, don't think that this is going to be any faster. No. It still looks like the max that it can send is quite literally what we are providing here. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe it's because there's actually not 256 in the slot every time this is happening. But let's just try and add multiple stacks of gold in here. So we have, let's say 256 worth of items it can send every tick. Is it doing that? It's really hard to tell. This is already incredibly fast. So you know what? Let's use our eyes here to be able to test this. So I'm just going to test out the pipes. This has the singularity upgrade in it, and this is only pulling 64. And 1 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the pulse. 14, 15, 16. I mean, it's about the same. this honestly feels exactly the same. So I would say that as far as ease of setting up, the pipes mod is probably going to be the best. However, I do think integrated dynamics might be the best for lag, because having these ultimate pipe upgrades, I would not recommend doing this on a server. But maybe it's not going to be too bad, considering that it's only scanning this little inventory here, and pipes really struggles whenever it's scanning larger inventories. So now with me understanding how we can transfer items into here rather quickly, I want to be sure to limit how many singularities I make, because we really don't need more than 18 of the individual singularities for each. Well, we are going to need more than 18 for these. Technically, it's going to need to be doubled up, right? Because for every single one of these, we are going to need to make another set for the ultimate singularity. But that's besides the point. I still maybe need like 36 of them, for example. So I don't need them constantly generating. So I would like to have them on a request system. That would be kind of nice, and I think that we can do that. If we set up 18 of these compressors and we do 18 of the individual pattern providers, we can use the pattern providers to possibly inject the ingredients into like a sophisticated barrel, for example, that can actually store all of the required materials in that instant. I think that would be pretty darn cool. So I'm thinking something like this. For example, we have these limited barrels, which are very, very nice, by the way. This should help reduce some of the lag. So the only inventory it has to scan is the single inventory that is going to be the inventory that receives the product per individual singularity. So I'll get this all lined up. Definitely going to have to use the shrink tool to get down in here. But for each one of these pipes, I need to shift this. We need to also get the catalyst put in every single one of these machines. And we also need to get all of these powered. Man, when setting this up, have I mentioned how much I really like these camo blocks? This is so nice. Like, it just is such a time saver, especially for the AE cables. Even though AE has its own facades, it's just so much easier to do this for the facades. Oh, it's so great. Now, I am going to need a pattern provider, like I mentioned, on top of every single one of these barrels. And then I also want to rotate these in the direction where they are facing down, so that way they don't accidentally inject the ingredients into the side here. So I believe using a wrench, yes, we can rotate these until they end up where they're supposed to go. So like that. And now all of them are pointing down, so that way they don't, like I said, accidentally send the pattern ingredients into here. Now, another thing that's going to make this absolutely wild is all of these base tier 1 limited barrels, by the way, they're all going to have an unlimited stack upgrade in them. So this means that they should be able to hold as many items as I request in them at any given point. And then we can use the fastest transfer method, which in my testing has been just sending a single stack every tick at a time in the machine. And so this should be a pretty quick method of doing this. We do have to get this powered in, and we're also going to need to pull the catalyst back out and send them back in the inventory. And so to do this, I think I'm just going to use a regular interface. And we'll have just a way to send these ingredients back in. So we can use a regular interface and then like a modular router right here. So we'll use the distribution module. We'll send into the modular router. So transfer into modular router. And these don't really need to run that fast because it's not like it's going to be producing a whole lot of these. And so one side, I'm going to select all of these, and it's so nice that I can do this now while flying. And I did get some questions like, how do you actually do this while flying? I'm just holding down shift and spacebar at the same time. That allows me to float mid-air. So that's just kind of something that exists in creative mode. So this is going to pull the product in, and then we have a sender module that's just sending to the back of the modular router on the back side. And so that's going to push anything that goes in this buffer right into here. And I think the default speed might be fast enough. We'll have to play around with this, but yeah, this should be more than enough, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is actually 10. So we are going to need, because you can only have 8 individual things hooked to it, we're going to just have more than one of these modules inside of this modular router. I tell you what, all we have to do is connect these in. All of these are going to connect to one another. They don't have to have individual cables connected. And so this string of pattern providers are ready to be hooked up. And inside of here, we just leave all of the settings by default. Everything's going to be controlled via the patterns. And I've got to make a pattern for every single one of these singularities. To do that, by the way, it's going to look a little bit like this. We're going to remove the catalyst, and then we're going to set this to 25,000. Yes, for every single one of these patterns, it's going to work just like this. So now we are basically ready to go. So something that I do want to try out. Now this should start instantly working as soon as I do a request for something, but let's take lapis, for example, and let's request a lapis singularity. When I request, we should see 25,000 items instantly get transferred into that barrel, which we then do, and we can actually see the numbers going down. That is so cool. And then as soon as this is finished, by the way, while we have a visual here, we should see the modular router then take the item after it has done its like little processing delay. It'll take that item and then ship it away. Now, something we can do is actually unlock the input here on all of these. Since we are doing it on a request system, we are basically allowing it to backfill more than the 25,000. So that's going to be a good thing. So that way, while it's processing, it's still sending in all of the items required. And then we're just simply waiting on the process speed to happen. So here's something I'm wondering. Okay, so my modular router, it hasn't pulled it yet, but there it goes. Now it has pulled it. So I think I'm gonna get some speed upgrades in here just to make that a bit faster. And so I think it's just acceleration speed. Every single mod now has a different speed upgrade. So sometimes it's hard to remember what is what. But there we go. Speed upgrade inside of here. And we'll grab another set and we'll throw that in this one. And that's basically our setup. Now we just got to hope that we have enough items for everything. I think bronze and things like that I have bees working on, we may have to tick accelerate those bees to get those bad boys ramped up to the value to be able to actually complete this star, which keep in mind, we need like 36 singularities, I believe, for each one of these. I believe that every single one of these singularities are inside of here. This should be 19. Yes, actually, my math is kind of wrong. There are 19 in here, which we do need a guaranteed 19 or 18 of these, actually 18. We need a guaranteed 18 of these, but then we also need 18 of the ones that actually exist in the star itself. So the gold, the iron, the lapis, the glowstone, copper, emerald, diamond, and redstone. Those we do need a total of 36. So you know what? Let's go ahead and figure this out. Now, we do know that the iron singularities, we are going to need 36 of those because those are also required in the base. So I already have 4 of them made up from the testing when I was doing some testing here. So we'll just do 36 minus 4, do a little bit of math in here. We get 32. And then as soon as I see this, see it's going to send 800,000 iron immediately to that barrel. That is gorgeous. And then I just got to do it for the rest of these materials here. And before I know it, I should have most of these barrels running as if, yeah, I mean, I honestly thought this was going to be more iron than that, but it just touches 1 million of our iron. This is so satisfying. 36 now, and there are all of the ones that are involved in the star themselves actively running. Oh, that is gorgeous looking at this. It's so nice. Now, even though I had most of the materials to be able to craft all of this, I'm still kind of waiting on the bees. And we need about 4.1 million in here, or like 4,044,000 or what have you, of the individual nuggets, because these do produce nuggets instead of ingots. And so, yes, I'm needing to, well, just kind of accelerate them. Something I did do over here on my SFM code to make this a little bit faster at transferring the items to keep up with the tick accelerating is I set every single tick on a global tick, so the world global tick. And so it's doing 20 global ticks due. And then what I'm doing is I'm copying the same code, pasting it back in, but I'm actually moving this to run 20 global ticks plus 5 ticks. So it is going to basically run this one first and then wait 5 ticks, and then it's going to run this one. Essentially, this is waiting 10 ticks then to run, and it's going to keep looping that. So this code is technically now, instead of every 20 ticks, it's technically running every 5 ticks. So it is doing 5 operations within that, or 4 operations within that 20 tick cycle. And it does make it able to keep up with me accelerating at least one of these. So if we take a look, you can see that is easily keeping up, and inside the hive, all of the combs are being handled, which wasn't being done before. Now, if you want more information on how you can actually do these offsets with inside of SFM, you can go to view examples, and it's under the time triggers section. So this was where it talks a little bit about how you can add offsets to your actual code. So this right here is kind of what I'm doing. We have the 20 plus 1 ticks, but I'm doing 20 global plus 1 ticks. If you don't do it here, it's going to run off of the timer that's built into the factory manager and not the world time. I do like the global time. It doesn't really matter though, kind of which one you run. Now, if you're getting all of the bees set up, we should now be able to get those final singularities done. So in var, we need 18 of those singularities. Those are getting crafted up. Bronze, we need 18 of those crafted up. Beautiful. And let's see, steel. Fantastic. And I think that's almost it. Right? Oh, we also have electrum. So I did a couple of the electrum prior to actually upgrading this. So yeah, we have even more electrum. So 18 minus 4, since we already have the 4. And beautiful. Man, I tell you what, this is how fast it's crafting up those nuggets and turning them into ingots. That's ridiculous watching this happen. But as you can see, all of the singularities are in place, and we just kind of have to wait for them to build up. Didn't take very long at all. So now I think that is all of them ready to go. Let me actually break this real quick, so that way this doesn't have any power, and that should make life a little bit easier on me when actually setting the recipe. All right, so we'll place this in. We go into here, has no power, and I need to say unlimited. It looks like I'm missing one. Missing the emerald. Why are we missing an emerald singularity? It is so weird. I don't actually know why I'm missing these. I do need 36. There it goes. That's so weird. I wonder why this didn't work earlier. Oh my goodness. Oh, it did definitely work. Let's lock this so it doesn't send any more in. All 36 were inside of here. I'll have to reroute these back into the pattern provider. I must have missed this one. I think the reason why I missed it was whenever I was going through with all of my distribution modules, I forgot to uncover this one. This one also didn't have power originally. There it goes. All right, so with those weird issues out of the way, we'll select that. This can't craft yet, but I want to shift to save that. And so now it is selected. Perfect. So those slots are pulled out. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all of these back out, send them back into the system, because I want to build an actual pattern for this that automatically sends these into the auto crafting table. So underneath here, we'll give it some power. This is now hooked in. And just like we did on the other one, I'll take the distribution module here, and this should allow me to pull out of here automatically. So throw that back into the system. And then we just need a cable to route this pattern provider, which doesn't need to be directional because the only place it can send right now is to this barrel. And so we'll do this one at a time, I think. I think this is just how I'm going to do this, one at a time. Or, I mean, I could send them probably all in one go. It actually doesn't matter if it sends all in one go, because this is only going to pull out of the barrel the things that are required. So let's make this wild pattern here that's going to contain all of the singularities required to make this thing. We build the regular pattern, put it in the pattern provider, and then we just request all 18 of these. Okay, so unlimited singularities, right? Or ultimate? Ultimate. Beautiful. All right, and 18 of these bad boys. We hit next. There's all of them ready to go and lined up. We hit start. That's going to send them all to the barrel. This is going to automatically pull them all in, and then it's going to start performing the craft. Oh boy, all of this. This is a lot of items, essentially. Every single one of these containing 25,000 of the items themselves. That's so much going into here. And there we go. I mean, we could technically request one of these ultimate singularities now within our AE system, and it would just craft it and work. But look at that. The singularity in our inventory, good to go. And we just got to wait for this to craft them up. So with the singularities done, we are now ready to craft all the mod stars. Believe it or not, there's still a few things left to do before we can fully craft them, but all of the base components should now be prepped up and ready to go. We just need to, for example, craft all of the philosopher's fuel. So we are going to need 18 of these, and I hope I don't hit any roadblocks. that prevent me from making them. For example, oh, I did use an unobtainium furnace here, and I think that I'm missing a sentient ender because I had one in my inventory, I think. If not, I'm going to have to craft one more real quick. And see, these are the roadblocks I was talking about. Actually, I remember exactly where I left it. I used it for a screenshot. I left it in here. So yes, there's the Philosopher's Fuel, all 18 of them ready to go. So what I want to do is I want to pop down here, and just for right now, I want to put them all on a display stand because I think this is going to be a cool way to show them off. Now, the ultimate singularity, I'm going to put that bad boy in the center here. By the way, I'm using the Reliquary Reincarnations display stands. These also have a functional version, by the way, and there's some really cool things you can do with Reliquary and all of its functional gadgets. Now it's time for the Wither Compass, and like I said, should have also all of these things ready to go. I think it was the Witherless Roses that I didn't actually craft like enough of, and this is something that gets crafted instantaneously though, so I wasn't super worried about it. But I need enough for 18 of them. We're missing Nether Star generators. So yes, I need 18 more of those because I underestimated how many I was going to need. But these are another thing I wasn't too worried about because of how fast we can craft them. It is honestly, this is one of those things that I'm just like, my goodness, I can't believe we've come this far and so quickly. Like, there we go. 18 Wither compasses. Yet again, another compass, add to the list. And so we move on to the next item. Oh boy. The next item is the pulsating black hole. This is going to require the craft of all of these individual items, and this one we do need 18 of. So, 5 times compressed blocks of gold. Yes, we will need 18 of those. The total cost here is 9.5 million gold ingots in order to craft this. It is a very huge craft and is going to use just about all of my ingots. And this does take a little bit of time to craft up. It's still, in my opinion, very, very quick. But this is going to have a little bit of a runtime here of about a minute to craft those up, even with the quantum computer. However, this could have been made a lot faster if I wasn't storing externally and I was using mega cells, because mega cells has the ability to instantly compact everything and decompact them as needed. Now, as far as compressed cobblestone goes, this was supposed to be running, but I think I left it unlocked, so it ended up stopping. But we do have a lot of compressed cobblestone everywhere else, and we also have an unlimited cobblestone drive. And so requesting 18 of the 7 times cobblestone, 6.6 million of the one time. How much cobblestone? 60 million cobblestone is required. It also uses 75 million bytes. That's a lot, and would definitely require a quantum computer to craft this. And even with our residual supply, it's still going to take about 9 minutes to craft that up. We should also have plenty of sand to be able to do this because we did have 2 times compressed sand constantly being generated. And we had that, yeah, on craft instantaneously. We can also use cobblestone and crush it down inside of a crusher in its compact form to make this, and that's also how I'm going to do the gravel. Now, the logs should be quite easily done. I already have 2 of them in stock. So we are going to need 16 of the 5 times on the log. That's easily done with all of our essence. So we'll get that started up and let our quantum crafter do all of this. This is actually ridiculously fast. You can see how quickly it's doing all those individual tasks. It is kind of wild when you think about how much cobble this is actually compacting here for this recipe. 60 million? It's absurd. Same for the dirt, by the way. We have enough essence for that. We have millions of essence. Thanks to the, the industrial foregoing setups. And thankfully for compact iron, we're going to need the same that we needed for our gold. And I have 13 million in stock. We need 9 point some odd million. So 5 times iron. Let's go ahead and get you crafted too. Might as well. Now, obsidian is one that I'm a little bit worried about. We have 703 of these. I think that is going to be enough to compact into the 18 for the 5 times. And we've had this running for a little less time. Yeah, it only uses 162 of those to make the 18 5 times compressed, which should happen almost instantly. Should, I say. should happen instantly, for some reason is not. I'm very curious why some of these are getting completely halted in their operation. You can see this is getting halted in its operation. This has been halted in its operation. So has this. There's a lot of weird things that for some reason are being halted in their operations. Wonder if it has something to do with the amount of coprocessors this is using in its storage right now. Yep, it's definitely the case. This is utilizing all of the coprocessors currently available to complete this. So yes, now that I have that 18 on the obsidian, it has all finished and now instantly crafted. So yeah, it was literally using the, wow, it was maxing out our quantum crafter to do that cobblestone craft. Insane. Now I am going to need 18 more 5 times cobblestone, and so that'll get made up very quickly compared to the 7 times, which is like a pretty large number. And I want to use this to just immediately convert it into the 5 times gravel. So there's all the 18 of those. Imagine just holding that much cobblestone. We also need 18 of the 5 times compressed redstone. That's going to be another thing that's very easy to craft. But while that's working, I can just take this and throw it right on in, and there's our 5 times gravel done. Instantaneous. With all of those done, we can now make 18 of the pulsating black holes. This is a wild craft. Honestly, one of the harder things to craft inside of the star. Like this is definitely one of the tougher things to get. And we need the Oblivion Shard. Now, I think I have everything for the Oblivion Shard. It does need all of these quantum entangled, which I had to do by hand. So I needed quite a bit of them. They do split into 2, so I had to do 36 singularities and break them all into 2. But there we go. That should be 18 of those. Beautiful. And so that's definitely complete, requiring aura tech and all kinds of stuff for this. So we had to finish up Just Dire Things and also do aura tech and a little bit of AE. Really, this is one of the easier things to make. Now, the Nexium emitter, this one's a little bit different. It did require you to go quite a bit through aura tech to get to here. Max out power with the transmitters. You need singularities. The wireless router, really easy. You had to automate precision mechanisms for the mechanical arm, and you had to go all the way through mechanism, and you needed to make sure you had a bunch of lithium to be able to make this, and also have a fission reactor to get gravitation modulating units. And in the wireless terminals, those are all very easy to make. And so this is all 18 of the Nexium emitters. Can't believe we're already at this point. And so, last but not least, we have the Dragon Soul. And now the Dragon Soul, very expensive because of the Chaos Core and also the Chaotic Energy Controller, requiring you to have gone all the way through and defeated the Chaos Guardian with Draconic Evolution. And once you have this, it is good. This also is a very time-consuming one, as you do also have to go through Occultism. You have to manually kill dragons to get enough dragon skills, and you need to have gone through Productive Bees. Very, very time-consuming one right here, believe it or not. So Dragon Head, I need 17 of those. Also, Mystical Agriculture, you need to have gotten that done too. So yes, this one's also pretty difficult on the difficulty scale for all of the required items. Right, the Inactive Dragon Egg, I'm pretty sure I had enough of those. Just make like 10 more of those. They're super, super easy for me to make at this point. But there we go. And hopefully we have everything else. 18 of those. Oh, it feels good when you've mathed everything out. And so with that done, these are all of the massive items that are required in order to make that star. And like I said, I'm not just making one, I'm making 18 of those bad boys. After all of this, we get to combine it together to craft all the mod stars. There's still a little bit more work to do because I actually need to get that prepped up inside of the auto crafting table to be able to do this. So I will need all of the individual components required for this in my inventory to set the recipe. But once we have it set, we can just simply request the craft with AE and it will automatically pull all the ingredients in. Still think that's one of the best ways to do it. Now, to make my life a little bit easier here, I am going to dump a few of these things out of my inventory, give myself a little bit of room. I'm going to build a pattern for the actual star itself. So all of the given ingredients go into my inventory. Then we can request a star by placing it in here. That should then fill this barrel with all of the ingredients. whenever we try to request a star. This is going to make life, like I said, a little bit easier. It should grab all of the things. Oh, did I miss actually crafting the improbability probability device? I did. We actually do have this as well. So let me actually grab all 18 of those. Whoops. There we go. Beautiful. So there's that item too. So yes, we'll request the star. That's going to send one batch into the barrel. And because this isn't on, it's not going to pull anything just yet. But these are all of the ingredients required for the star, allowing me to go inside the ultimate crafting table and actually insert this in. And then we can set it and hold shift to select that and make sure it's locked into position. And now I can take out all of the ingredients from here, and we can see that it is set up just as you would expect. And then whenever all of those ingredients get placed in, it should automatically get pulled into the system once we give it some power here. So let's take these all back out, throw them back into our system, and then we'll cancel this craft just like so. And now we should have the ability, once powered, to send this. But I still want to put a modular router down here to automatically send the ingredients back into the pattern provider. I'm also, by the way, going to be doing the same setup over here as far as the modular router goes, to pull the items from the bottom of this and send it wirelessly into the pattern provider. And I need both of these crafters because this is actually where we're going to automate the Patrick star later on. But that's something completely different. That is going to be exclusively for automating star production. Now, both of the puller cards are going to be set to facing up, and that is going to pull the product into the modular router on both sides. And then we need the sender module. This one is just going to send back into the pattern provider. Just a quick, easy access to send back into the system. Same for this side. Perfect. All right. So now that that is basically set up, I might even leave this color, but I could technically dye this modular router to match the gray concrete. But I think this kind of looks nice. Actually, you know what? It might be kind of cool if I set it to the industrial iron that the rest of our base is made from. Put that in there, and now that fits. I think that fits even better. Now, another thing I need to give to the crafter here is going to be some power. So I'm going to use an energy output module, set that to up, and we need to give this some energy upgrades inside the modular router. We put that in here. This will also send power, but we do have to power the modular router itself. So I'll just slap that on there. Now our energy buffer goes up, and this should be sending power just like that. Yeah, get some speed upgrades in here, and this is going to look pretty good. So with that, we're ready to craft the All the Mods star. All 18 of these bad boys, and I am very excited to do this. All right, so we are going to use our AE system to craft them because this has definitely been the show of the entire pack. This has been the thing, the centerpiece of the entire pack, showing how powerful Applied Energistics is. Such a powerful mod here. And so we can now craft all 18, all the mod stars. Here's all of the ingredients required. And this is such a feel-good moment. Look at all of the unobtainium gear that it's going to be using to convert into nuggets. I mean, we're basically using everything that we worked on through the entire playthrough to make this. And now, when we start, all of the items should get sent into here and are now feeding in. And this is the moment of truth. This is the moment where we are literally crafting the All the Mod star. Oh my goodness. That's so much going on here. And it'll put everything in here before it does the craft. And that is basically it. My goodness. And so all 18 stars have now fully crafted up. And I now have enough to make 2 All the Mod star blocks, which are going to be very, very useful because to make a bee, to automate this thing, you have to use a star block to convert the bee. And then you also need a All the Mod star block for the bee to pollinate from. And now we have those things. And then it's just a matter of waiting for our bees and breeding our bees up. Not really breeding them, but poking our bees until we have an entire thing filled with these bees. But that's going to have to wait for another episode. Yes, we are going to be working on full automation in the next episode, getting the bees up and running and making sure we can constantly produce all the mod stars indefinitely for the existing time of this world. And I would also like to get some of the creative items, and because those are kind of a fun challenge to also go for. So if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. What a ultimate goal to strive for, getting these 2 bad boy blocks right here. My goodness. And I hope that you guys have got them as well. Be sure, like I said, to let me know down in the comments if you have already achieved this All the Mods Star block challenge. Guys, it's now time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Moist Socks. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting my content in one of the best way possible. You absolute boss. I do appreciate your continued support. And of course, guys, I will see you in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.